Hello, Oregon. Governor Kotek here. The Oregon legislature has wrapped up its work for the year, so I wanted to give you an update on the progress of our shared priorities. I came into session focused on supporting people who are experiencing homelessness, cutting red tape to build more housing, increasing mental health and addiction care, centering student success by holding Oregon schools accountable, and addressing critical gaps in wildfire funding for prevention and response. That was a tall order, and not everything got done to my satisfaction, but I am pleased to say there is good news to share. I'd like to share some of the progress that was made on housing and homelessness. Oregon will maintain a statewide shelter system that currently serves almost 5,000 Oregonians every night. That means we can keep making the momentum of moving people from sidewalks into shelters and then into housing. There's also more money for rent assistance to prevent evictions, $32 million. We could definitely use more because of the housing affordability crisis, but this money will still be impactful. And people moving into housing will be able to depend on long-term rent assistance to make sure the transition sticks. Finally, to really solve the challenge of homelessness, we need more affordable places for people to live. That's why I championed bills to cut the red tape that's delaying housing construction and fought for more investments in housing development. And that got done. All this means Oregon will continue to build on the progress we've made on tackling our homelessness and housing crisis. Let's talk about mental health and addiction care. There are two key issues I work with lawmakers to solve: more places for people to get the care they need, and more people to provide the care. That means treatment beds and qualified workers. I was successful in getting $65 million for another 195 beds across the state, which will be on top of the current plan to bring on 467 new beds to close the gap. But without qualified workers to take care of people, beds won't do us much good. That's why there will be $6 million to invest in our mental health and addiction professionals, which means direct financial support to hire or retain more therapists and social workers. For the youngest Oregonians, I kept my promise on education by securing a historic $11.36 billion for base funding for K-12 schools and changing the way we calculate that base funding so school districts can plan better into the future. And I'm committed to making sure every dollar we spend goes towards student success. I don't believe in blank checks, and neither do Oregon families. This session, I passed a bill that makes significant changes in how the state ensures that every student across the state receives a high-quality education. And I stayed committed to the basics, making sure our youngest learners have the best possible opportunity to learn to read and write, no matter who they are or where they live. That means more money for early literacy and summer learning programs, with $35 million already headed to Oregon schools for this summer. When it comes to fighting wildfires and keeping our communities safer, I partnered with legislators to secure $150 million for responding to disasters and $63 million in dedicated money for community prevention and resilience. This progress is really good for all of us. It was a productive legislative session. Oregon will have more tools and resources to solve problems, and I'll keep working hard to get things done on our biggest challenges. Thanks for listening.